My name is Christopher Ryan Spicer, and I'm running for City Councilor at large. For 5 years, I have served on the Human Rights Commission, including as immediate past chair. I'm asking for your vote today to bring my human rights perspective to City Council. I'm a stay-at-home father of 3 kids under 9 years old, all of whom have benefited from Somerville Family Learning Center. My oldest daughter attends Winter Hill School. We have another Unidos program at East Somerville Community School. My wife is an organizer and a PTA president at Winter Hill. I am the family dog walker, which is how I most frequently see my neighbors, except for Joe Alibrandi, who I called last week. It was his 82nd birthday, and Joe and I have had conversations like time travel, back to a time when there were still 4 pear trees, when there was a tree like the Museum of Science, a brook that came down the way, chickens and pigs grazing under trees. And that's the Troll Street he remembers from his mother that came from Italy after earthquakes. Now, he swears that the neighbor Terrio was a Civil War general. He remembers the Magoon Square where he would go to a shop and pick up an item for his mother and say, put it on the cuff. There was the cheese store, the 5 butchers, the bakery, then Charlie's Maglioli's fruit and Kennedy's peanut butter without the preservatives. Joe could still recite all the kids who lived on the block's names back then, and he could remember playing baseball with knocking out a neighbor's window almost every time, or hitting a home run into Macmillan's Oil off the Vernon that loaded right onto the railroad. He remembers the community Bingham School around the block that his mother served lunch at, one of the 68 women house engineers living on the block. And he remembers later, when he was 35, the blizzard of 1978. 3 days of snowfall that began with the lightning and thunder and bricks flying off buildings. Strong and fit after years of working as a builder, Joe, the next morning, with his brother and brother-in-law, shoveled from 8:30 to 6 o'clock at a time when there's no snowplows running down the streets. Then his sister Lena brought out the hamburgers and hot dogs. A neighbor came and brought out wine. Everything was shut down. Stores were closed. 2 weeks. Every night was a barbecue on Troll Street. Golden times, he said. But it's not like it used to be. Condos they made everywhere. You don't know your neighbors. City Council, to address this, has given $100 for block parties in summertime. And I would see that and raise it. I would also, for wintertime, advocate for a restaurant crawl. Elders have an aging council, but they deserve a dedicated City Hall personnel. A Ward 6 resident reached out to me. She was assisting her aging mother. Their historical family home has been a hassle to make any improvements on. Daughter was doing her best to navigate City Hall, hitting dead ends with the process. On her behalf, I reached out to express concern. And funny thing, just in time for the process to suddenly get worked out. City staff are sensitively trained, but they leave this impression that it's just too hard. As City Councilor at large, I will make it my priority to be present and knowledgeable at how to press City Hall, but our elderly need better customer service. My baby and I attended the Ward 1 Cobble Hill Apartments Father's Day event, and we met deeply concerned abutters of 90 Washington Street who deserve that their input be ranked the heaviest. We should all have the support to keep living in Somerville, be respected in the community as we age, and feel our voices are heard. My kids' classmates are disappearing. First it was the status quo of displacement. Then it was uprooting Winter Hill and the lack of decision on construction. And now it's federal terror. I refuse to tolerate ICE detentions and deportations of my neighbors, and I want to be as loud as I can for the people of Somerville. For those who are able, train in nonviolent protection, or speak up proud of our love of our neighbors. What am I going to do about this? I will authorize spending to support students facing homelessness and food insecurity, and I envision providing a city safety net for nonprofits impacted by federal funding cuts, especially those whose missions of equity and inclusion are impacted. Somerville volunteers collectively donated in service hours over $2 million of their talent and time to our 30 nonprofits. We are a city with competence, conscience, and compassion. We are creative, different, and on the move. Our political will is underwriting improvements such as staff for City Council and going to charter a more powerful City Council. I believe that because the answer to tyranny is governance with checks and balance. I want governance with direct access for residents. You can always count on me to meet you where you are. I have experience as a grassroots campaigner, as paralegal for Immigration Legal Clinic, and secondary ed teacher. I am fluent in Spanish, which I learned as a student in California and in El Salvador. A human rights activist for more than 25 years, I ask for your vote and your trust to fight for basic needs and take the side of people over profit. As a legislator, I will work with my colleagues to craft law that will safeguard the interests of our most vulnerable residents. Human rights are the air we breathe. Let's keep Somerville that way. Thank you.